Do you feel that your free speech is being eroded? Have you noticed a steady decline over the past year, or few years actually, but even more so over the past 6 months with coronavirus? Have you noticed that our rights are being eroded, that we're being told what to do by the government, even if that action is unlawful actually and proved unlawful? Have you noticed that in Australia someone was arrested for arranging a peaceful protest? Do you value free speech? Do you value that right? It's something that we fought really hard for as humans, essentially. It's something that we've always wanted, that valued. We can see what happens when we don't have it. We can see the kind of oppression or suppression that we might be subject to without free speech. But more and more, we're seeing governments overstepping marks, we're seeing law enforcement officers overstepping the mark, we're seeing people being prosecuted for what we usually consider a basic right, and that is the right to free speech, to voice our opinions and to protest. Now, if we lose our ability to protest or lose our ability to organise a protest or to even discuss the idea of a protest online without being prosecuted, we're really at a dire point, and we're at serious risk for future generations as well. What is this going to mean if we don't fight and stand up for that right and continue to do so? We're sending a clear message to the governments of the world that they can essentially do whatever they want, and they can prohibit and prevent us from protesting through the fear of detention. Last night I spoke with Spinline at a conference on free speech, and we were mainly talking about what happens in the Middle East as far as that's concerned. But it's really concerning what's actually happening in the West. Is the Middle East going to change overall? Are we going to see an improvement? Are we going to not see people jailed anymore? Journalists placed on Interpol? All of these terrible things that are happening in the Middle East. Well, if we don't get our act together over here in the West, how can we hope to influence that kind of positive change in the Middle East? However, I do see that change is inevitable. I don't see that we are going to long-term give up our right to free speech. I think that the pendulum swings, and I think that people are going to come back fighting for that, being oppressed by our governments, our police, and social media outlets. We have businesses dictating whether or not we can say what we want to say. That's for example, our Twitter accounts have been suspended. So we're looking at human rights activists being censored on the internet, and this kind of censorship is extremely dangerous. It's very important that we address cancel culture as well, having a political point of view and then being threatened with cancellations or ostracized from the community or from employment. This kind of thing is just terrible for healthy debate, because it's through that healthy exchange of ideas that we actually find what the equilibrium is that works really well for society overall. If we take away one element of free speech, or we reduce people's confidence to be able to voice their opinion through threats or bullying or even through law enforcement, we're really doing a disservice to society as a whole, because we don't get that benefit of that healthy debate that often brings out ideas that haven't been considered by, two sides of the spectrum, and they need to be considered. How can we make a decision if we're only hearing one side of the story? So it's very important that we really stand up for free speech, that we stand up against social media giants who are aiming to censor a lot of voices, and a lot of voices that are really important. Whether or not you agree with them, it's really important to have them. And it's really concerning that we have social media outlets telling us what we should believe, whether this information or data is true or whether it's fake news. I don't think they're qualified to make that decision, frankly, and I don't think the government is either. It's up to us to educate ourselves and stand up for our common sense and our ability to determine what's truth and what's not. As far as the Middle East is concerned, yes, I have high hopes. I do believe that we're going to see that positive change, that we're going to see less oppression of free speech, and it is inevitable because we want it. It's just like women's rights. We fought for them, we get some. like Latifah in the Middle East, escaping her oppression and bringing that to the international media, of course that's going to have a positive impact. And of course, long term, we're going to see those changes to women's rights in the Middle East. Same is going to go for free speech and other areas that obviously need development and improvement. But that's not to say that the West is perfect either. I feel that we've really taken a back step on our rights as far as free speech and privacy as well, privacy on the internet, and various different erosions that have happened that I really think we need to pay more attention to. So anyway, as far as Victoria is going, I look forward to an update soon. I hope you guys are getting out there and standing up for your right not to be arrested over arranging a protest online. I will post Skyline's podcast from yesterday's conference, which was really great to speak up there alongside my learned colleagues. But thanks very much, and everyone keep talking and keep voicing your opinion. Hope to hear it soon. Ciao.